The miracle of life begins. A single sperm fertilizes an egg. After only a few weeks, the human form begins to take shape. Sometimes, within the first 2 weeks, a fertilized egg divides completely in two, creating identical twins. But on rare occasions, something goes terribly wrong. When the egg fails to divide completely, the twins then metamorphose into something abnormal. A child with one body and two heads. Sometimes there is one head, but with two bodies. Although they are connected, they sometimes develop into two completely individual personalities. They are called Siamese twins, after the most famous conjoined twins who ever lived. On August 16, 1829, a clipper ship coming from Siam entered New York Harbor. On board were two young men named Chang and Eng. No one had ever seen anything like them before. From the beginning, Americans were fascinated by the 6-inch band of tissue that joined them at the waist. Despite this band, the two young men moved and thought as one person. New Yorkers were hungry to see what were then called freaks of nature. Good-looking and charming, Chang and Eng played to overflowing crowds and were called the eighth wonder of the world.
In those days, most Siamese twins died during childbirth because it was so difficult to get them out of their mother's womb. And they were so very, very rare that most Americans didn't even realize that they existed.
At the age of 19, Chang and Eng were content with their lives and insisted that they never wanted to be separated. Their attitude changed when at the age of 32 they married two sisters, Sally and Adelaide Yates. Now they wanted to be alone with their new brides. But doctors all over the world told them the same thing, that the band that connected them could not be cut.
Doctors feared that they might share a common liver, and if they cut the band, the twins could die of bleeding or infection. Remember, in those days, they didn't have X-ray machines, and they didn't know what was going on inside the human body. And they weren't very good at surgery, and they didn't know how to prevent infection. In fact, they didn't even know then what caused infection.
Even though they couldn't physically separate, they tried to separate their lives. They built two houses, each family living 3 days at a time in each house. Within a year, both wives were pregnant. Eventually, the twins' families increased to 21 children. But after several years, Chang began to drink heavily. The arguments between the brothers became more and more violent, but they still could not find a doctor who would separate them. The twins and their wives were destined to remain connected by their band of skin forever. In 1884, Chang had a stroke and was confined to his bed. Eng had no choice but to suffer along with him. Then one night, Eng awoke to find that his twin brother was dead. Eng pulled his brother close to him and said, "Then I will die too." Within 2 hours, Eng was also dead. Doctors believed that he had died out of sheer fright. Because the twins were an enigma to medical science, doctors sent their bodies to be autopsied at the College of Physicians in Philadelphia.
During the autopsy, the doctors found that the twins were two completely separate individuals attached only by a band of scar tissue. And only one vein, a small vein, went from Chang to Ang through that band. They did not share a common bloodstream. So that if Chang got drunk, Ang remained sober. If one felt pain, the other didn't, because they had completely separate nervous systems. The autopsy showed that the doctors had been wrong, that the twins could have easily been separated, and that they could have led totally independent lives. Despite their amazing abnormality, Chang and Ang lived to be 63 years old at a time when the average life expectancy in this country was only 39 years.
Chang and Ang were laid to rest in a cemetery in North Carolina. In death, as in life, they were linked together forever.